Good morning, students. So, in the last class, what and all we have studied is first there was an explanation given about inertia, isn't it? Based on inertia, force was explained in Newton's first law. So, where you have studied that when force is applied, what happens? There is a linear momentum which is produced, which is P is equal to m into v. Okay. So, and then Newton's first law of motion, where force is explained in terms of inertia, and inertia are of three types. Now moving on to next topic was about forces, where you have studied about types of forces, like parallel forces and unlike parallel forces. It says that when two forces which are in the same direction, if you have two parallel forces, if they are there in the same direction, then you call it as like parallel force. Unlike parallel force, when you have two parallel forces acting in opposite direction, then you have found out what is resultant is. So resultant, based on resultant, you have defined what is equilibrium is. So if there are two unlike parallel forces, two equal unlike parallel forces, where force will be equal to 0, that kind of force is what is called as balanced force. Till here you have studied in your last class. Now effects. What are the effects of force? That is what you are going to study now. Here is what happens when you apply a force. Rotating effect of force. Where you can find this is an simple example at your home when you need to open or close the door. Imagine this is your door where you have an axis of rotation which is fixed, where the hinges are fixed to that position, and you apply a force near the handle, and always handle is fixed far away from the fixed point. Why? Because only then it is easier for us to move the door. Okay. So to open or close the door easily, force is applied at a point far away from the fixed edge. So when you apply a force, what happens? It moves. It moves. There is a direction in which it is shown here. It moves. So there is an turning effect. That turning effect is what is called as moment of force, children. And this turns in according with an axis. About this axis, this door rotates. That is, it either moves in one direction to open and to close it. Okay. So here what you have studied is that there is an turning effect, right? That turning effect of a force at a fixed point is what is called as moment of force, or otherwise it is called as torque, tau. So this turning effect or moment of force is this moment. Moment is different, and in the last class you have studied momentum. That is different. Momentum, where when you apply a force, it starts moving with some velocity. That is what is momentum is. Here moment. Moment is always a term used in physics which will measure what quantity of the force that it possesses. That is what is moment is. So this tau is equal to, how will I find out that is applied force into the perpendicular distance. What's the meaning of perpendicular distance is, it has moved to certain limit. Now I drop a perpendicular from it, from this point, and find out this distance. This distance is what is called as its perpendicular distances. So it's a vector quantity and its unit is Newton into meter, because force unit is Newton and distance unit is meter. So you have it like this. This is when you have only single force acting on it. Instead of that, when I have two equal and opposite forces applied at two distinct points, that is two different points, then it is called as a couple. It is not going to act at the same point. If two equal and opposite forces acts at the same point, then it will get cancelled. but it is not happening so. Okay, so two equal and opposite forces applied at two distinct points is what is an example of a couple is. Even opening a pen cap, and then you close a pen cap, that is also an example of a couple. So where, as it is stated, at two distinct points the lines of action does not coincide, so where resultant is equal to 0. What's the meaning of that resultant is equal to 0 is that it will be there in the equilibrium position. So if I could take this as example, where couple, it will have both anti-clockwise moment and clockwise moment. So how will I define anti-clockwise moment is when one force is going to act upwards and the side force is going to act downwards. What will happen? This force will start tending to move the side. I have drawn an arrow mark. The side where in the clock, if you could find, it is in the opposite direction. So hence it is called as anti-clockwise moment. Now what happens here is this force is acting downwards and this force is acting upwards. So what will happen? This will start moving down and this will start moving upwards, but this is at equilibrium. Okay, so when it starts moving downwards, it is in clockwise moment. So that is how moment is measured. So moment of couple is equal to F into S. S is the distance moved. Now SI unit is the same because here it was also force into distance. Here also it is force into distance. So SI unit is Newton into meter. Though units are the same, it is two different quantity. Clear? Yes. So now moving on to the next one, which is called as principle of moments. The statement of this one is given by at equilibrium. What's the meaning of equilibrium is that when the net force is equal to 0, the algebraic sum of the moments of all the individual forces about any point is equal to 0. It is so simple that at equilibrium, what happens is that number of clockwise moment will be equal to anti-clockwise moment. It's very easy. Based on this, you have an experiment in your practicals also. So it will be easier for you to remember it also. Nothing. Imagine this as a scale. In your lab, you will have this as a scale of 1 meter. And this is a knife edge. Where when two forces F1 and F2 are taken, two different forces also can be taken. If this is 50 grams, if I am going to take this as 100 grams, then I need to move this F1 and also F2 in at one position. What happens is that this line or the scale will be standing in an equilibrium position. What does that means is that moment of anti-clockwise moment is given by F1 into D1 will be equal to F2 into D2. This is what the principle of moment is. Till this is one. Now moving on to the next important concept, which is Newton's second law of motion. Now we shall move on to the next topic, which is Newton's second law of motion, children. Newton's second law of motion also defines only force, but this is called as law of force because we arrive at one expression for force. There Newton's first law of motion, where it was defined only based on inertia, there was no expression. But here we define force with an expression. That is why it is called as law of force. So now when you apply a force on an object, what happens? It starts moving, right? So that is directly proportional. So what happens there is that momentum, there is a change in the momentum. That rate of change of momentum is going to be the force, or else force is directly proportional to the rate of change of momentum, and also the direction of the movement will be in the same direction of the force. This is what is the statement of Newton's second law. So here to explain that, I am going to consider some object of mass m which is initially moving already with initial velocity of v. Then when I apply a force of F after a time interval of t, what happens there? Then there is an final velocity, the velocity changes. After when force is applied, the velocity changes to v. So these and all that I have considered. So here I need to find out rate of change of momentum. For that I need to find out what is initial momentum is. Initial momentum P1 will be equal to m into u. Final momentum P2 will be equal to m into v. So now I need to find a change in momentum, right? Change in momentum will be nothing but P2 minus P1. So m into v minus m into u. M is common here in both the places. So m is removed outside, m into v minus u. This is only change in momentum. Okay. But our law, the Newton's second law says force is directly proportional to rate of change of momentum. Wherever you have rate, then it says that you need to divide it by t. So now I can write that expression as F is directly proportional to m into v minus u divided by t. So that now change of momentum, before that I have found a rate. When removing the proportionality sign, I need to include a constant. So F will be equal to k into m into v minus u by t, where k is equal to 1. Whenever k is equal to 1, then what happens is this v minus u by t, we know that already. Change in velocity by time will give you acceleration. Rate of change of velocity is nothing but acceleration. So what can I do now? In the place of v minus u by t, it can be written as a. So the whole term, the whole expression now changes to F is equal to m into a. Isn't it? So based on this expression, we have come to some conclusion. That is, force is not required to maintain the motion of a body moving with uniform velocity. What's the meaning of that is, if you are not going to change the velocity of any movement, then you need not apply a force. It will be keep on moving only with an uniform velocity. Only wherever you need to have a change in the velocity, if you want to accelerate, if you want to make it to move faster, so but force is required to produce acceleration. Whenever you need to accelerate, when you want to change this final velocity increased, then you need to apply a force to it. This point you would have studied in your 9th standard. In a circular motion, direction of the velocity changes at every point. So what happens there is centripetal acceleration is produced. This that you have studied in your 9th standard, and Newton's second law gave us an expression where F is equal to m into a. So unit of force. What's the unit of force? We know that it's going to be Newton. Okay. Now 1 Newton. Now I am going to define what is 1 Newton is. 1 Newton is nothing but the amount of force required for a body of mass 1 kg to produce an acceleration of 1 meter per second. It's a statement. What do you understand from here? If you are going to take a mass of 1 kg and if you want to produce an acceleration of 1 meter per second, then what's the amount of force that you apply is what is called as 1 Newton. Did you understand, student? That is, whenever I am going to take a mass of 1 kg to produce, in order to produce an acceleration of 1 meter per second, I need to apply some force. That amount of force is what is called as 1 Newton. So hence 1 Newton is equal to 1 kilogram meter per second. That is mass into acceleration. Okay. This is one unit. Another, gravitational unit of force. What's the meaning of gravitational unit of force is its mass into g. They here I have taken it as 1 acceleration, but in gravitational unit of force it's going to be 9.8 meter per second square. We know that. That is acceleration due to gravity is 9.8. So I am going to take it as 9.8, where it gives me 9.8 Newton. Okay, these are all the units of force. Now moving on to impulse. What is impulse? Have you come across it? You would have come across. If you imagine an hammer, do you know what this hammer is? So when you when you are going to nail using an hammer, you apply a larger force in a short interval of time. That is what is called as impulses. You will feel that impulse when you use an hanger. So a large force acting for a short interval of time is what is called as impulsive force. So impulse J is equal to F into T. Or else even this impulsive force can be an example of your own parent, where if you commit some mistake, the parent gives you a larger force, apply some larger force at your home in a very short interval of time. You have a reaction, some reaction takes place. That reaction is what is that impulsive forces. So now by definition it is given by force into time taken, and by second law of motion, F is equal to del P by T, that is rate of change of momentum. So I can write in the place of F, I can write it as del P by del T. Now this equation changes to J is equal to del P by T into T. So T and T will get cancelled. So I get J is equal to del P. What's the meaning of that is, this J, that is the impulsive force, is going to be equal to the magnitude of change in momentum. It's not the direction, it's only the magnitude of rate of change in momentum will be equal to the impulsive force. Now its unit, SI unit is kilogram, then it's only velocity, because P is equal to M into V. So it will be kilogram meter per second. But this change in momentum can be achieved by two different ways. One, a larger force acting for a short interval of time. That I have already told you an example for that. Now a smaller force acting for a longer interval of time. Even during this time also you can feel that impulsiveness of a force. Even take it as an example, a teacher who wants to correct a student is going to apply that force, that is keep on saying what has to be changed for a longer time, that is at least for a month or for a 3 month or for a 6 month, for a longer interval of time. Surely there will be a change in the attitude of the student. That is because of that force. So this rate of change can be brought even by the second one, wherein a smaller force acting for a longer interval of time also will change that impulsive force. So what you have learned today is Newton's second law and certain effects of it and its unit, and then impulse. So in the next class we will learn about Newton's third law.